Hi everyone, Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live as we continue to talk about the power our words have on our brand impact and influence. And today we really want to dig into some of those red flags, some of those words that we might use either habitually, things like this might be a stupid question, or a favorite of mine from a colleague used to say, to be honest with you. So things we might do habitually that's helpful where we are, and those that maybe we're perhaps not so conscious of. And the opportunity here to start to dig into what's going on, and again, take small steps to make some shifts.
Yeah, I think the opportunity here is to understand what's the language that just comes out of my mouth without thinking. It's on autopilot. Some of it is just habit. Some of it's actually driven by fear. We're worried about what other people we think. We're worried about being judged. We're worried if we have permission to say something. We're worried we'll get it wrong. And some of those fear pieces, that's really the work we dig into in the Acts of Confidence program. We really help people understand some of those default assumptions that are going on that are meaning the impact we have and the way in which we convey ourselves is not landing as well as it could. And so we really encourage you to start thinking about some of the language, some of that over-apologizing that just happens without thinking about it, or the sorries we say that we don't need, the seeking permission, can I just ask before we get into something, the justifying and over-explaining that happens. All of these things tend to mean that we are just conveying messages to ourselves sometimes, but also to others that we're not really sure, that we don't really know what we need to, and we're not standing in our power or authority.
Yeah, and again, important and valuable to notice the ones that are habitual, because they're much easier to change. Sometimes it's just awareness raising. Notice the ones that really are mirroring our behavior and our feelings, our nervous system. And again, recognizing what it is that we need to do to shift that. I'm often love being a mirror for people. I say it regularly. When someone apologizes, I always say, you don't need to apologize. I'm regularly saying that, particularly to women. I think this piece around the justifying, over-explaining, often in my experience, when I witness this, it's often someone thinking and speaking at the same time. Now, there is context when that's appropriate and that's okay. But when you are sitting in a room of more senior stakeholders for whom time is a priority and they've only got a short window, your ability to be far more succinct and to have done the prep beforehand so that you are clear and concise is really important, and a really powerful way to build brand profile and instill confidence from their perspective and who you are, where you're at, and your ability to lead.
Yeah, this tendency to waffling, the tendency to over-explain is something that women do rely on. We often are making sense of things in our head as we're going, or we want to tell the whole story, we want to give lots of context and lots of reason because that's really important to us. And so sometimes the feedback is we don't need that much detail. We don't need all of that. And some interesting data that we were listening to recently, men say about 7,000 words per day. Women say around 20,000. Not necessarily right or wrong, but just to be aware that in some context, there's a lot of volume of words that isn't actually helping you or helping other people understand the most important or most salient pieces that need to be addressed.
Yeah, and so I think the opportunity here is to raise our awareness. I often say to colleagues or stakeholders, if there's anything that I'm doing, any of those habitual things, and you can tend to see it because it kind of rolls off your mouth with unintended purpose. Are there any habits that you see, nervous habits in terms of language that I use frequently? And it is a frequency piece that might be undermining my brand and impact, and seek feedback. Share the purpose with which you're asking for that feedback in terms of really wanting to enhance the power of your language and communication. And so get that. Be a mirror for other people. When you do have notice other people apologizing, again, hey, seek to get some permission to give them some feedback. Hey, I noticed that, you just said, this might be a stupid question, not in front of the whole room, of course, but hey, I've noticed you've said that a couple of times. You know what? It's really unhelpful. It's not needed. And it's probably just not something you might be unaware that you're doing that. And it's certainly not part of an intentional communication piece. So it might be helpful just to raise the awareness of someone else.
Yeah, I think the other pieces are to observe others, observe great communicators in your world, watch them and watch what they do, watch for the language they use, and also equally watch for the language they don't use. Watch how they get that point, how they deliver it succinctly, how they don't put waffle around it, how they don't need to over explain and justify, and certainly they're not apologizing for everything that comes out of their mouth. And then I think the thing for all of us is let's experiment. Let's start small. What's the one thing you could do, either through the feedback from someone else, or you've noticed that these are some of the habits because you've heard us talking about, and you're going, actually, I do say sorry a lot, or I'm always asking for permission. And then focus on that one thing and start using that as your small experiment for how you're going to shift some of this language that can be undermining for your own perception of confidence and also with others.
Lots to dig into this week. If you enjoyed today's confidence conversation, we of course would love you to share that with someone in your network who you think might benefit from that. If you would like to dig in a little bit further, head over to our Facebook page. Loads of videos over there for you to dig into either more about this month's topic or other topics when it comes to core confidence or acts of confidence program. And when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with core confidence, visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.